I grew up playing the basketball with the boys, so like it's always been physical and feisty, and like that's what it is. And you got to find a way.
Caitlin Clark, one of the league's most talked about up-and-coming players, recently joined forces with Sophie Cunningham and Lexie Hull in a bold, unexpected stance that shocked the WNBA. This startling decision has shocked more than just fans. It's generating debates, and serious worries about women's basketball's future across the league. What in particular inspired these musicians to form a band? And why is the league so concerned? A fire was started by these women. For months, fans have packed stadiums and watched from all across the nation as their favorite athletes put their bodies and minds to the test. These women have suffered, persevered through ailments, and sacrificed comfort for the love of basketball. In real life, they started to stand for ardor, perseverance, and optimism. They were more than just participants. They were the foundation of the league itself. But beneath the loud audiences and highlights, a darker reality was slowly becoming apparent. It was a story of negligence, untreated injuries, and an all-too-often indifferent league. The truth can no longer be denied. The announcement that followed was ill-prepared and lacked polish. It was pure, powerful, and unforgettable. These women weren't just looking for answers. They exposed a system that thought of its stars as disposable. Right now, basketball is not the main emphasis. The WNBA's capacity to endure the fire these ladies just sparked is at risk, along with respect and decency. At the heart of it all is Caitlin Clark, the rookie who turned every game into a narrative. She was not only gifted, she was calm under pressure, possessed deep shots, and had vision. They represented history in real life. Crowds followed her like supernovas, knowing they were witnessing something unusual. Beside her is Sophie Cunningham, a feisty veteran who embodied perseverance, passion, and unyielding toughness. Fans praised her baskets, but they also praised her courage and the fight that brought her fame. Then there was Lexie Hull, the valiant fighter who was always in the trenches, but wasn't always in the headlines. Diving for loose balls, taking hits, and persevering. She showed her allies that passion and emotion are equally vital. They have only asked to be treated with the dignity they deserve. But will the WNBA finally take notice of its stars? Or will it be at risk of losing the vital pulse of the game? More importantly, are we seeing the beginning of a revolution? The narrative is just getting started. When silence becomes a betrayal. Together, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexie Hull stood for something more than victories, rebounds, or points. They were not only athletes. They functioned as symbols. They stood for the potential for women's basketball to gain recognition. Farina, who was once ignored, is an inspiration to young girls everywhere. They put all of their labor, sweat, and sacrifice into the game. However, the league that was supposed to protect them failed. Where care should have been provided, neglect took place. Where answers should have been delivered, there was quiet. And trust was betrayed in that silence. There was no buzzer beater or highlight play to start the storm. It started out in pain and silence. When Caitlin Clark fell, it was the first blow. The rookie, 1 minute. The experience electrified the court. Then she was holding onto the hardwood with her leg. The arena froze in shock. In the hopes that it was nothing severe, supporters held their breath. But the truth soon came to light. She had a serious wound. Stadiums grew heavy and quiet across the nation. The league's biggest star, the athlete who had attracted before unheard of crowds and media attention, had been reduced. The issue that kept coming up was, how could this happen without stronger safeguards? Then Lexie Hull's nightmare arrived. Fans screamed in terror as she stumbled after suffering a severe hit to the eye, her face dripping with blood. What followed, however, was far worse. She was forced back into action without the medical scans and safety tests that all athletes are entitled to. Social media became popular. Explanations were sought by spectators, medical experts, and even competing athletes. How could a professional league allow such reckless disregard? Nothing was more deep than Sophie Cunningham's collapse, yet silence fell again. Her knee buckled, and even seasoned athletes turned away. Whispers spread swiftly. Career-ending, devastating, and irreversible. Sophie, a fierce veteran who had devoted years of her life to the league, suddenly had to face the possibility that she might never play again. Nevertheless, the league has shown no haste, no strategy, and no statement. Just a reverberating void where accountability should have been. These were not isolated accidents. They were indications that the league's most precious asset, its players, were being overlooked. Now, the question is quite important. Will the WNBA finally move to protect its stars? Or will silence continue to damage the very women who shaped its future? Silence has more power than injuries. 3 players, 3 terrible injuries, and one eerie theme that unites them all. Silent. It was not the calm of recovery or the hush of a locker room after a hard loss, but a cold, deliberate silence from the same league that should have stood with them. Just silence. No justice, no responsibility. Pause for a moment. If you believe that these ladies deserve answers and that their sacrifices are worth more than useless platitudes, please let us know via the comment box right now. Because this isn't just a story about athletics. It is related to respect. Fans saw what followed as a betrayal. They had put money, energy, and unshakable faith in a league that provided growth, safety, and opportunity. They bought tickets, shirts, and fantasies. But when it mattered most, all they got was silence, and their heroes were lying on the court in pain. These women weren't merely figures. They were the main reason why people first became interested in the WNBA. They moved stadiums, occupied empty seats, and brought in new fans. But when their bodies crumbled under the weight of that sacrifice, the league betrayed their faith. The silence weighed more heavily than any diagnosis. There was no feeling of urgency to save those who had given their all, no formal pronouncements, and no clear updates. There was more to this absence than just scorn for fans who had stood with the league through its highs and lows. Silence is important. It was therefore annoying. It shows where you really stand. And for Caitlin, Lexie, and Sophie, the message was brutally straightforward. They weren't receiving the same protection or attention as stars. In a system that didn't seem to care about loyalty, they were treated like replaceable pieces. The betrayal was more serious than a bruised body, a fractured eye socket, or a crippled knee. These women had fought, endured hardships, and made sacrifices in order to develop the league. They had made history, inspired a generation, and generated momentum. But when they most needed protection, the league turned its back on them. Fans who had earlier cheered with delight now erupted in outrage, flooding timelines and comment sections with calls for responsibility. Will the WNBA ever be able to restore the trust it betrayed? Or is the damage already irreparable? Let's go on. The silence that sparked a revolution was hidden behind the polished highlight videos and glittering news. Conferences. A storm was building in locker rooms throughout the league. Whisper conversations became into heated debates. Players were frustrated as they compared combat wounds. In addition to pains and bruises, there are stories of careers that were recklessly risked, injuries that were ignored, and regulations that were broken. Outsiders thought there was silence, but it wasn't a coincidence. A pattern emerged. Moreover, these patterns don't just disappear. They demand to be broken. Sophie Cunningham felt close to the quiet. It was the anguish of being picked out and left behind, as if her years of sacrifice had been in vain. For Lexie Hull, it was the devastating knowledge that negligence may have exacerbated her eye impairment and jeopardized her future. For Caitlin Clark, the league's most promising new star, it was the realization that her historic rookie season, which was meant to be remembered for victory, would always be marred by pain. Each of them had been hurt. As a team, they were unbeatable. The weight of betrayal overpowered their patience and dread, compelling them to take action. If they didn't, the league would speak strongly in public and in a way that would be hard to ignore. When their comment was disseminated, they didn't utilize formal PR language or filter it through secure channels. It wasn't processed. It was furious. There were 3 voices speaking simultaneously: Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, and Caitlin Clark. They came out of hiding and shocked the WNBA with a truth bomb. The message was simple: we will not keep quiet any longer. In a couple of sentences, the league revealed its lack of medical responsibility, its incapacity to safeguard its stars, and its practice of treating players more like disposable goods than like human beings. The silence was what they referred to as treachery. The sports world exploded. Hashtags including #DefendLexie, #StandWithSophie, and #JusticeForCaitlin were popular worldwide. Fans were furious and devastated in the comment sections. ESPN canceled regular programming in order to accommodate emergency debates. Stephen A. Smith stated bluntly, "If the WNBA wants respect, it starts with respecting its stars. Ignore it." Legends from the past expressed their support via tweets. Athletes who were once rivals now stood side by side in support of one another. The league had not been exposed by critics. It has been called out by the very women who made it relevant. Was this just the beginning of a much bigger battle, or was it the catalyst for the WNBA's eventual reform? Watch out. Women's basketball has fought for acceptance for decades, battling misunderstandings, sparse audiences, and media indifference when outrage becomes unmanageable. But all of a sudden, the world's brightest lights were forcing it to confront a harsher, more urgent reality. The fight for basic safety, decency, and respect. This headline wasn't your usual one. In a situation like this, the power dynamics between players and the league that depended on them may shift. And it was only the beginning of the shockwaves. As soon as it was released online, the joint statement from Sophie Cunningham, Lexie Hull, and Caitlin Clark went viral. Hashtags gained popularity on social media. On Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, the hashtags #JusticeForWNBA, #StandWithCaitlin, and #DefenderOAthletes have gained popularity. Videos showing Sophie's meltdown, Lexie's serious eye damage, and Caitlin's horrific fall with subtitles like, "This is what the league ignored." What had begun as the fury of loyal followers became unmanageable. All of a sudden, the story had to be featured on big sports networks, the same ones that often ignored the WNBA. Debate shows took up airtime. Anchors looked at the league's flaws. Headlines